Greetings, YouTube. Once again, happy Friday. You might recall yesterday I did a video where I was critical of Kabam Mike's response to counters for the Mr. Sinister Act 6 Chapter 2 boss because his first option that he named was OG Vision, a champion that you either get only by hoarding units or spending cash. And on top of that, this is a champion that really is not super effective until he's at a high sig. And when you have a champion that's a counter that you basically are screwed unless you have a bunch of tech and generic 5-star 6 stones, it makes it tough to be really effective with this champion. And I also have to say that it goes against, again, what Kabam has said their goal is, which is to not have certain people have to have a specific champ in order to do well in the contest. But we have a guy by the name of Trapstar, or Trap for short, who read the post and he's like, great, I have a 565 OG Vision, and on top of that, he's SIG 200. So I want to say off the top, you do not see a green rectangle around his player profile. He was not boosted. This is just 565 Vision, but at the same time, I don't think you should need to be boosted in order to take down a boss if it's a fair fight. So we're going to see how he fared using Kabam Mike's #1 suggestion of OG Vision against Mr. Sinister, because of course his goal is to control the power to where Mr. Sinister never fires a single special in the fight. So here we go, jumping right in. And because he's SIG 200, he starts with over a bar of power. And so he's able to really control the power of this fight. But as you can see, even though he's doing that, he has not really caused any damage whatsoever. In fact, Mr. Sinister is still at 100%. And so now the goal is just to kind of stall until that synthesis gets reactivated, which it does. But you can see even with that heal block, he's still at 100% health. And I would say I fight with OG Vision every week in Map 5 of Alliance Quest. And he's doing about what you want to do when you fight with OG Vision. He has not allowed Mr. Sinister to get one special off in this fight. And yet we're about a minute in to the fight, and he has done 0% damage against somebody who he's supposed to be a great counter for. And keep in mind, I'm sure quite a few people who have OG Vision as a counter for this fight don't have him at rank 565 and don't have him at SIG 200, certainly. But we have not seen Mr. Sinister really dip below 100% health this entire time. It is like beating your head against the wall where you're doing everything well outside of, I guess, taking some block damage, and you're still not getting a single dent into this boss. It is the definition of a credit card node for somebody that you're listening to the official voice of the company on the forums to do their counter. And think about the hundreds of dollars it takes to not only take OG Vision to rank 5, but to get him SIG 200. One of the frustrating things about getting a champion like this is that because you have no chance of him appearing in the 5-star crystal, you can't count on ever duping him and getting a bonus 20 SIGs to his signature level out of that. It's just signature stones or nothing. So we are now over 2 minutes into this fight, and he has still caused 0% seeable damage. And at this point, Mr. Trap is so frustrated, he is just ready to rage quit. He has done everything that he thought he would need to do, from controlling the power the entire time of the fight to not taking really any damage besides block damage. He's at 148 hits of his combo, so it's not like he's taking a combo to the face. And yet, it is now at a point where he has finally done 1% of damage 160 hits in. And just kidding, that 1% is gone. It's back to 100% health for Mr. Sinister. So unfortunately, what ended up happening, because you're not going to watch a 5-hour video where you just see this over and over again, is after about 3 minutes, Trap literally just gave up and he had to quit out of the fight. Now, I realize that there are going to be some people who say, well, that's because there are much better counters out there than Vision for this fight. That may be true, But keep in mind, maybe the counters you're naming, people don't have. It's really frustrating when people say, oh, just use your rank 4, rank 5 Quake. Well, a lot of people don't have Quake, for example. But besides that, I just think this kind of shows that sometimes when you name a counter, even if it's a money grab counter that only you're able to do if you grab your wallet, that can still not be effective against a boss. So he just decided to quit out this fight, as you can see. And in the video, I'm guessing there might be some people who say, well, he wasn't fighting perfectly with vision. He could have played better. And I don't really know if that applies in this case because he didn't take a hit. He controlled the power the entire time, and yet he was able to get off at most 1% damage, and then even that quickly went back to 100%. So how good of a vision counter is Mr. Sinister? How good of a Mr. Sinister counter, I should say, is OG Vision? Well, this fight in particular shows not a great counter at all. Now, if you think that this is just a fight that wasn't fought properly, comment below and let me know. But otherwise, it just goes to show that you can do everything the right way. You can get a champion up to SIG 200. You can completely control the power of the fight, and yet you still, on certain nodes, don't have a chance to take more than 1% health in almost 4 minutes. And that, unfortunately, is the state this summoner found himself. I hope he has a different champion, maybe a better counter for this fight. But in the meantime, it's I don't know, it's quite depressing to see 150 hits equal not even 1% damage. Congrats to everybody who's beaten this guy, though. I know a lot of people have, and so there are plenty of answers out there. Thankfully, this YouTube community is amazing, and there's plenty of information now about who to bring in. I just wouldn't recommend OG Vision.